All right. Is camera good?
Camera's good.
Cool. Go ahead. Great start.
Welcome to the Rake. We are back with another episode for you guys. And yeah.
Yeah, Crouton's back too. We have no dog birthdays or anything to celebrate this time. No. But you have a little bit to talk about. You have been overseas for a bit.
I've been overseas, UK Marles, British Marles. I'm surprised I didn't come back with an accent, honestly.
You should have just done it the whole pod. Just like straight face. I wouldn't even mention it.
I missed it. Missed opportunity. No, it was great. I was over in Gloucestershire, England with Spraggy, where he's from. It is so cute over there. Have you been to like Maine, outside of London?
Not at all.
No,
0 times. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's just like crazy. The weather's awful. It rains every day. Gloomy.
I was looking at your Instagram stories.
Awful. And we both were sick too for most of it. But it's like everything is old. Everything is like Shakespeare. Like everything is like cobblestone and these really old buildings. And even like the kind of like Home Depot type places are like in like castles. It's like a chain store, but it's like the nicest building you've ever seen. It's just so beautiful. And then we were just in London for an 888 live tournament, which was nice. And we just played the main, and I did some commentary with Tuck.
Oh yeah, I love Tuck.
He's great. And Nick. I think his name is Nick. I'm first time meeting him.
Okay.
But they were awesome. And then I played the ladies event, which was fun. The ladies event, and played some cash games and just kind of explored London a little bit too, which was nice. Cool. And yeah, had a little love honeymoon.
Aw. The beginning of the relationships are always the best.
Yeah, we're all loved up over there. But yeah, so now I'm back in Vegas, kind of adjusting to the time zone. I just got back, so. But happy to be here. Happy to be back on the pod.
Cool. Speaking of adjusting to time zones, starting Thanksgiving night, I streamed a bunch of stuff that was taking place in Sydney, and it was fun. However, it's completely the opposite time for us. So I started the stream at 9:30 Thanksgiving night after having had wine all day with all our friends. And that was very rough. So I did that 2 nights. And then decided next time I'll say I can do half a shift, not the one from 9 p.m. till 6 in the morning.
That's long.
Crouton came with us the second time. It was great because my friend was doing the control room, so he actually put a Crouton cam on him.
Nice.
And anytime that somebody subscribed to Twitch, he would just show the Crouton cam.
Nice.
He did a great job. Yeah,
That's
4-year-old
cute.
Crouton, very professional Crouton.
Nice. So what was the event?
It was the Sydney WSOP circuit, so it was at the Star Sydney. We have to go next year.
Yeah.
I think Chris and I really are considering it. It just looks really awesome, like an awesome vacation, but also poker there just seems a little bit softer than here. They don't get a ton of regs flying in. I think it's hard to get to.
Yeah, it is.
So it does tend to be just a local scene. So I think that the games are like a little bit better.
Nice. And it's just an excuse to go to Australia.
Yeah. I want to meet a wallaby.
Yeah.
Goals.
Koala bear. Yeah. I hate the flights though. Even the London flight kills me. That's like the longest. I mean, Montenegro was worse, but
that's why I just do what my friend does. And I'm not saying people should abuse drugs, but my friend says like take Xanax and you just teleport to Australia.
I've heard this. I need to get on.
We're not saying you should do it, but I'm saying we're not saying you shouldn't do it. You know?
Yeah, I don't know, but I didn't sleep at all this last time. I was just like up watching movies, stupid movies, and
you should have just watched The Irishman, and then you could have like been home in one movie. I just watched that the other night.
I fell asleep about a third of the way through.
Yeah. The last third of the movie was very interesting.
It's worth it.
Yeah, because I'm a big Goodfellas fan and Casino, like pretty much any mobster gangster movies.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was though. It just was very slow for about 2 hours, and the last hour there's just some interesting things to think about like aging as one of these mobster guys, and it's just how everyone succumbs to old age, and even like the baddest badass who just used to like kill all the people, and like it had some really cool qualities at the end where you're like, wow, you usually don't get to see like the end of these people's lives.
Yeah.
And then also I was depressed for like a full day after that.
Really?
Because I'm just like, man, getting old.
That's it. Yeah. I heard it was kind of a little bit of a ominous ending. But one of these days, I'm gonna stay awake for the whole movie.
You can do it.
Yeah, I can. I'm classic. I always fall asleep, even in a 2-hour movie. So
Yeah, you got no hope then.
no chance. So a couple of big things happened this week in poker we wanted to touch base on. Jason Koon?
Yeah. Jason Koon put out a really popular blog that got a lot of buzz on social media, a lot of different viewpoints. It's posted on the Party Poker site. And I would say like the main takeaway from it was him explaining why tanking is prevalent among high rollers, that, you know, it's not somebody thinking through a hand and they're just going meow, 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 meow in their head. You know, they have a lot going on, so that people should kind of respect that this game is more complex than most people are capable of thinking about it. So when it looks like someone just blank face staring, waiting for time to pass, he's actually thinking about a ton of things.
For those of you who don't know, Jason Koon is one of the best players in the world, plays all the super high rollers, and is a run at once coach long time. I think he said he's been playing high stakes for 7 years, like super high. So, you know, he just wrote this blog being like, hey, we're all tanking, we're all, you know, taking forever and it looks boring, but kind of explained what's going through his head. I mean, actually in detail explained what's going through his head, and just kind of talked about the future of poker, where it is now, where it was in the past. And he says that this is here to stay and it's only going to get worse and it's going to get more intense.
Yeah, I think the only thing he would disagree with that is the worst part, because I think he was saying that tanking is just going to be part of the game, that it's necessary because this game is like beautiful and complex, and that there's a lot to think about. So if they're given the time to think about all these things, he put out a list of what goes through his head when he's dealt 2 cards and has to make a decision about his opponent. And I'm not going to lie, that list has a lot more prongs on it than my list would have.
Yes. It was
like 30 different things.
Literally 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the point where he, you know, he goes through his lists and he talks about, I mean, I think these are all, most of them were things that, you know, I think we've at least heard of or like seen like other people talk about in run at once videos, like, you know, randomizing and mixing and these kind of things. But to actually like do it in practice obviously takes so much time, and to imagine someone doing that is insane.
And my one criticism of him, I think he's a great person and great player. My one criticism would just be applying that same list to every tournament you play. I feel like, of course, if you're buying to a 100K or a $1 million Triton event or something like that, and every player is equipped with the same list of skills of being able to determine like how to proceed in a hand, take your time. I mean, within the rules of the game. But I think where it kind of would kill the game is if you're playing a $500 tournament and the field is 80% Rex and they're there being introduced to poker and like wanting to try to play more poker, like it would be like paint drying for them, just sitting there watching, thinking that this guy is just like taking his time, chilling, not, you know, they're not there aware of like, they're not aware of like all the things that he's thinking about. So to them, there's like, this guy, seriously, he's Hollywooding again. Yeah. So I feel like turning it off for when you're playing your lowest buy-ins. I know some people can't do that. Like some people who are just like perfectionists or just so competitive. Like I have a little bit of it in me, and like I have trouble when I go play like the old man league in soccer, being like, don't injure anyone. We're here to have a good time and I'll go home in one piece. I know that feeling, having played like Division I soccer. I'm like, I want to play. I want to like get a good sweat in. I want this to be competitive. I understand the feeling. I just think if you're playing really small buy-ins, if you're playing charity events, $500 tournaments, you're playing with your family, I know it's possible to be turned off, like to turn that off. So I just kind of hope that people don't abuse the fact that you can spend time in WSOP events, some of the smaller ones. Like you can take your time until someone calls clock.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, it's funny. I've actually played with some really sick, good players in like a really silly, drunken 1-2 game. And like, I feel like there is a certain point where you get so good that you can only turn so much off. Because even though they were drunk and even though they were certainly not tanking or, you know, randomizer and doing anything like that, they still overbet every turn. Or you know what I mean? They're still doing things. Do you know what I mean? They're still like
I don't expect
5-bet
people
bluffing. Like they're just
to play bad. Like I'm not suggesting play bad.
Yeah.
I'm just suggesting make it bearable for others. Like make it fun still, and realize like the person who takes the most flack ever for tanking is Jordan Christos, because he's known to take as much time as possible and wait till the clock is called on him every single time.
Right.
Things like that. So for him, I'm like, man, I just wish I could get it through his head, because he's so firm on the side of it's within the rules. I'm going to take my time and things like that. And sometimes I just want to talk to him and say, if everyone did exactly what you're doing, this tournament can't exist. These people would never register this tournament if each person took 2 minutes pre-flop every time. Things that are just crazy like that, and just realize that you can't be selfish like that, and you can't act in a way that, like, if everyone acted that way, the game would be dead. And I don't think Jason does that. And I think that he's not the problem, but that would be like the very extreme of it, where I'm like, I know that you have more nodes in your tree to think about and all this, but there has to be some like cutoff where the game becomes unplayable, and like we don't want that.
Well, I think that there's two very different games happening in poker. There's the really like prestigious high level sport mind game of poker, which is Triton, which is the high rollers, which is the poker masters, and in that game, you're playing mostly against top level pros or really, really serious recreationals, rich recreationals, take it seriously. And in that setting, no one is there to have a drink and blow off steam. Everyone is there because they want to compete at the highest level, and they really want to see how far they can take their brain. And then there's, the rest of the 80% of the tournaments in poker where recreationals and a lot of pros are just there to bluff steam, have fun, have a drink,
run a big bluff on a pro and be like, I've got Jason Koon in a hand. Like things like that. Like that is still part of the game. It's a big part of the kind of poker I play. I'm playing in those fields.
Well, that's the very, very vast majority of poker, besides the high rollers and maybe like some prestigious events like the main event. Like most poker is that, and that's what it is at its core. And so I just feel like they need to shift gears. And I think that a lot of them do shift gears.
They definitely do, because these guys are not bad online.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys who are like the elite players live are also very good online, where you have very little time. You just don't have the luxury of going through it prong by prong and being like, okay, like what, everything that he thinks about, because he's an extremely deep thinker in tournaments. You just can't do it online. So it's almost like, and I don't play a lot of chess, but like some of the people I respect the most in poker, like Jen Shahadi, chess beast, there are different rules in different chess tournaments too, where there's speed chess. So that's like an instinctual thing. And I wouldn't mind it if there were tournaments like that, not just shot clock tournaments where they like limit your time, but if there really was like speed tournaments where you have to just be like instant call. Like,
10 seconds. It
would be really cool if they ran one of those. And I'm totally cool with commentary. It's interesting because like sometimes you really do just run out of things to say. I'm not someone who buys into 100Ks. I'm not an elite player. So there are times like I'll be watching a player tank and I'm like, I know they're thinking about some good shit right now.
It's not even it's like not even the same thing as what we play or what you know what I mean. 90% of poker players play. It's like they're just at the point where they're just like, how smart can I? How deep can we get? You know what I mean? And I think that was kind of, he wanted to like. And I don't think that a lot of people out there understand that or realize that it's literally a separate thing. I mean, so much so, it's so different that like, I feel like when you turn on a high roller or you turn on these kind of events, you have to go into it being like, hey, I'm not here to watch regular poker. I'm here to watch just like really smart people outthink each other. And it's like a different sport altogether. Yeah. And so
it's interesting commentating, just being like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what an elite player is thinking in this spot, because clearly it's not just, all right, well, I'm either going to bet or I'm going to fold. It's like, no, there's probably 3 different bet sizings going through their mind, like how they're going to play later streets. Yeah. It's more complicated than most people are capable of thinking about the game. And I think I kind of felt like that was his point of the blog, was just to explain that we're not disrespecting the game when we're taking a long time on a spot. Yeah. Like this is meaningful, and the time that I'm spending is necessary. And tournaments, until they evolve to be speed tournaments or something like that, or until we're playing online, I'm going to take this time because other people are too.
Yeah, he also wrote another blog earlier this year called "I'm Tired." I don't know if you read that one.
I saw that one too. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a good one too. And I'm tired, meaning like, it's so and I think that he wanted to like just let the world know like how strenuous it really is to be playing on that level, to have to stay competitive, like take a week off studying and you're falling behind, and it's a draining thing, and just also speaking to the robotic nature that people criticize them for being like, and how no one celebrates. And he was saying like, we can't, like, if we celebrate, we were talking about Chrissy B even not getting excited when she won the tournament. It's like, if you get excited every time you win, or you are upset every time you lose, you're just literally going to run yourself ragged and he's tired. And so you have to come up with these mechanisms to become robotic and to become, almost like stoic when you're playing, which isn't necessarily the most fun thing to watch, but you have to do these things when you're playing at that level to protect your psyche. Otherwise, you literally are in a straitjacket, I think. I mean, I wouldn't know.
I agree with this. And I think that that's something that that's when poker became not gambling for me and became more of a job when that went away. Like, that's how I used to feel when I was a lawyer and poker was a fun gambling activity.
Yeah.
I would drive down to Borgata for a few hours of 5-10 that I could sneak in. And when I won, I was like, yes, yes, I won. And when I lost, I'd be thinking about hands the whole way home. Like, oh God, I don't know if I could have played that different. And it would bother me to lose, and it would make me super excited to win. And tournaments even more so. Like, the glory was all of it. I wasn't focusing on the money. So I was just like, oh, I want to win a ring. I want to win that. And that was all like that's how you feel when it's not a job. That's just the fun part of it, is like what it does to you emotionally to win or lose. The same as like playing sports for fun, like the emotional side of it. And I think when people play for a living, any kind of game, it becomes more robotic. You become less attached to the results and more attached to like your decision making, which just isn't as sexy. Like winning a tournament, if you mess up everything and win the tournament, you aren't going to be as happy as if you played really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's just part of it. Like him talking about, I think it must get really annoying because this annoys me, and I'm not even at that level. When people talk about, oh, these guys are robots, they're not fun, they're not exciting, they don't like put on a show, they don't entertain. It's like, well, we're not clowns. Like, he's not trying to be a clown. He's trying to play a game, and it's a game of thinking. It's not a game where it's like very showy. Like, most of the stuff that's happening is internal. So you're not going to show a ton of emotion, and you're not going to celebrate and go crazy. And they compare them to the pros of the past, and those guys going nuts and like sometimes acting like clowns, and that made for amazing TV. And there still are some people around like that do that make for amazing TV, but also they're like a completely different type of player. And I feel like I'm happy that Jason doesn't try to be that player, because that might be the worst, is when someone who's not that showy like clown person tries to put on that kind of facade to try to like get whatever sponsorships and things like that, because that's like painful to watch for me.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the inauthentic people are like the absolute nut low. Yeah. But yeah, I think that we were talking about earlier how it could be maybe like discouraging if a totally new or recreational player read his blog and was like totally overwhelmed, like, oh my God, like this is what poker is. I'm just trying to, gamble it up with my buddies, and they read that, and then maybe that just turns people away. But I think that it had to be like said and addressed. And I think it also needs to be said that isn't all of poker. That is just what he does.
Absolute tippy top, highest level of poker. If your goal right now, and you're playing $100 tournaments, but your goal is to play $1 million tournaments, there's a lot of learning that goes on before you make it to $1 million buy-in. Yeah. So maybe you'll get to that point. And I think it should be encouraging instead of discouraging to realize that this game has so many facets maybe you don't know about yet, that if you keep studying, there's going to still be more to learn. It's not simple, and you're not just going to learn it and be done with it and be like, okay, well, I've solved it, moving on to the next thing. I think the fact that he has 30 things on his list is like a little bit inspiring to me.
It is inspiring. And, I don't know. It's a little bit, it made me feel a little bit like, oh, I don't really think about anything. I thought it was cool because I was like, oh, what could they have? Yeah. But yeah, the well, it runs deep, but it definitely inspires me to keep working and try to do that. And I also want to say that Triton he said this in the blog too, like for how big their events are, they are surprisingly fun and upbeat. And I think it's because some of the recreationals and also Paul they're just so fun loving, and like it's like a unique thing over there. So that is a little bit fun to watch, I think. So, yeah.
Cool.
Woo!
Now seems like a good time to give a shout out to our sponsor, Run It Once Poker. They just launched a pretty cool new rewards program called Legends. Every week, you can earn cash rewards that are applied directly to your account. Plus, they still have their popular Splash the Pot feature, which takes some of the rake and throws it right back on the table. With these two features combined, you can get up to 75% total rake back.
If you sign up now through once.run/play, you'll receive a 100% first deposit bonus of up to €600. And a big thank you to our other sponsor, Run It Once Training, the best place to learn from players much better than us. If you sign up through once.run/learn, you'll get free access to 3 of their elite videos, so go check it out.
All right, so the second thing we want to talk about today was a tweet that Andrew Barber made that made the rounds on Twitter, and a lot of poker players had a lot to say about it. So he said, I see a lot of new podcasts and Twitch streams. When did we get the idea that the world is in short supply of good content? If anything, we need far fewer content creators and more consumption of the really good content. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I commented on it, and just as somebody who started a vlog a little bit over a year ago, it's fresh in my mind how hard it is to kind of put yourself out there and start, I don't know, any kind of content in any form. And I think that I kind of understood where he was going with it. I think that he was just saying, hey, the market is so saturated at this point with so many podcasts, so many streamers, so many vloggers, so many people on social media in general, just with an iPhone or webcam thinking that they're going to put out this great product. And the truth of the matter is most of it is just like, low quality or like not that good or whatever. But the fact is that like, I think that the stuff that is high quality always rises to the top. It always gets its due eventually, pretty quickly, honestly. And I don't think that, his argument that it's kind of people are getting lost in the bullshit and not seeing the like gems of good quality content. Mm-hmm. I actually like commented on it being like, oh, well, like name one, who's somebody that you think that isn't getting the accolades that they deserve, like that's getting lost in the shuffle a little bit. And I mean, I just don't know anybody. I think that people who are doing good stuff are getting rewarded for it and are standing the test of time and have been around for months or years. And at the end of the day, people are probably going to suck in the beginning, no matter who they are, at least somewhat. And it's so hard to put yourself out there that you don't need any more discouragement.
Yeah. I think I had a similar take to that I think he's trying to discourage people who just shitpost, which is like something you see more on message boards and Twitter than you do. Like, I don't think people make like trash content because it takes time, like to make your vlogs, to make your videos, to like anything. If you're going to like paint a picture or anything, like things like that take time. So I don't think people just go, oh, I'm going to be great at it, fire it off. I'm like, I think people put effort into it. I think message boards and stuff, people, and like 2+2 has a little bit declined in the quality of content because people just go, fire it off, send it, never think about it again. But I think what he's doing is actually going to discourage people who are thoughtful, people who have a little bit of self-doubt because they realize that there's some really excellent content out there and they're like, right away, I'm not going to be that good. So I don't think I'm going to take a chance. I don't think I'm going to like try to build something. And I don't think he's going to discourage the shit posting people because they don't care.
They don't care.
People are just like not introspective. They're just saying like, I want to make this thing. I'm going to make this thing. It's going to be great. I know it. So when he puts it out there, I don't think it's going to have the effect that he intended, which is like make people think twice and go, am I adding anything new to this space? Am I creative in any way? Or am I just like adding to the pile of all the same stuff? I don't think he's going to reach people that he intends to reach.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's just a stupid tweet. Maybe it was just out of frustration. Maybe he just watched maybe he was just weeding through Twitch and
he just watched the Rake like episodes 1 to 10 and was like, Jesus, it's possible.
Exactly. It's impossible. But I don't know. I think I don't think it was as malicious as people thought it was, or it seemed that they thought it was in the comments. But it is hard to put yourself out there. I will say that, and I personally, like I said, I got my camera, filmed a bunch of vlogs a year before I ever made it, and was like, this is so bad. I can't do this. I had everybody telling me to do it. And I was lucky enough, I was friends with Andrew Nemi, the longest going vlog there is. And he had been encouraging me for a long time to make it. And I had a lot of encouragement, a lot of support, and still I couldn't, I don't know, something just inside me that was like, this is so bad. You can't, I don't know. It's just hard to put yourself out there. It really is. I agree. And it sounds stupid, but it's hard to be the one, especially if you want to do it right and you want to kind of be authentic and you want to take risks and you want to put out stuff that maybe isn't so, I don't know, PC. It's just hard to do that. And I don't know. It's tough. I think we got to be honest with people. And if their shit kind of sucks, like,
but it doesn't even have to be like, if someone puts out something terrible, I don't think anyone needs to like take them into the corner and be like, listen, that was some terrible vlogging you just did. Like the world will tell you, like the world tells me what I'm bad at. Like I've tried things and failed at them. And I think that like when your content doesn't rise to a level or anyone cares about it, you get your answer. I think that people should still try. I don't get bothered when I watch a vlog that isn't good. I don't get bothered when I like listen to a podcast and go, it's not really for me. I'm like, okay, it was my choice. Like there are things that are provably good already that are like, watch Joe Rogan's podcast with this person who's like super intelligent. You'll get a lot out of it. It has 1 million views. You know that already. I know when I'm watching a podcast that has 10 views that it might not be good, and I just want to support my friend and see if I'm interested in it. Maybe I'll be their best, like their biggest fan. And I don't think that discouraging those people from doing it is smart, because I think for some people, content creation can be really therapeutic. I am a garbage painter. I am garbage at like arts and crafts. I suck at drawing. I do all this stuff anyway. I think it's fun. I enjoy photography. I'm bad at it. Like there are things that you do because it's like cathartic and it's like so different from what you do that you're good at. It's so different from your regular job or whatever you do for work that you enjoy doing it. So if someone wants to stream on Twitch, them playing some video game and they have 2 viewers, like go ahead. It's just weird to see a tweet that's like, don't do the thing you love. I guess like for me, I have this like weird thing, and I think that a lot of people have this, where it kind of bothers me because like things are so saturated just in general, but in poker, there's so many regs out there, so many professional poker players. And, I think we all know I don't know, it kind of bothers me that like everybody's a vlogger now. Everyone's a streamer now. Everyone's a poker player now. And I think that, and maybe I'm only speculating, but maybe I'm just trying to understand maybe where he's coming from, playing devil's advocate. And maybe where he's coming from is just like, it's watering down I don't know, the words saying, hey, I make a poker vlog, or I'm a streamer. And it's kind of like, now it has no weight. You say that and everyone's like, okay, whatever. It's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I guess that kind of bothers me. And it's just like, oh, I'm a reg, or I'm a poker player. Because obviously we know people who like Jason who are putting this kind of work in. He's like, hey, what did I do?
Didn't even flinch. Who are putting this kind of work in, who are like working this hard, whatever. And then there's other people who are just kind of like fucking around. And
I just think, I don't know, it just like doesn't take away from what I do in my mind. That's where it's just kind of weird, because I'm like, there are people who are a lot better at what I do, and there are people who are worse at what I do, and it like doesn't affect me. If it doesn't affect how I feel about what I do. If everybody stopped reading any of my tweets, if I do some stuff for people for social media, if all of them fired me and I made no money from that, like if all this stuff happened, I'd be like, oh wait, this affects me now and I suck. I've been told I suck. But like someone else who is not amazing at something doing the same thing as me and saying, I also play poker, it just doesn't bother me. I don't feel like it takes away from how I feel about myself if someone else claims to do the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think, first of all, not you, but like, we know deep down if you're, you know what I mean, if you're really trying, or if you're really, how, you know what I mean, or how good you really, or not how good you are, but like if you're really trying or not. And so if you're saying, oh, hey, I'm a poker player, and you know that you haven't won in 3 years,
Hey, this hurts. All right. This has gotten really personal. And
hey, if you haven't won in 3 years, okay, and you're still on this fucking Rake podcast saying you're a poker player, let's just call it out right now.
Oh, man.
Let's just tell the world right now. I've had enough. This is a sham. Neither of us have won in 3 years. No, but
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is a cry for help.
I guess like it bothers me more from like other people when other people are saying it and it goes both ways. Like it bothers me when like I'm in a group of poker players and like some are like working really hard and crushing it and some are just like the absolute nut low and they're both like, yeah, we're poker players, and I'm just like, it's not even the same thing what you guys do, you know what I mean? And I guess that's just, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a defect in my brain, but I think, I don't know.
Yeah, one of the other tweet responses I thought was interesting. Andrew said, the world can't sustain an infinite number of creators and relatively few consumers. But something that I realized as I'm getting into more and more kinds of content creation is that whenever I like enter a certain field of content creation, I consume so much more in that field. Like as soon as we started podcasting, I was like, oh, I kind of want to see what other people talk about. Like what makes their podcast interesting? Like what do I enjoy? What don't I enjoy? So I kind of feel like I watch and listen to 5 times more podcasts than I did before we started doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's normal. I think that most people who write books are probably avid readers too. So I kind of think sometimes it piques people's interest when they start doing some, like, do you watch more vlogs now than before?
Definitely. I mean, and all kinds, like obviously I've seen dozens of Andrew Nemi and Brett Owen vlogs. But I still watch them, and I think that, and also some smaller people, and just like they pop up on my suggested, and I just watch them, or even streamers or whatever. I just watch them, and I don't know. It's just a few seconds of your time, and you're done with it. Yeah. And I mean, and he's right. Just to play devil's advocate, it can't sustain. It probably can't sustain. There probably can't be 20 poker podcasts that crush that.
That crush, but that's the caveat. I guess that's like the addition there of like that crush. It's like, yeah, the best few are gonna crush, and then like some of them are gonna be targeted to a much smaller audience. Like the one they do for Poker News, the LFG podcast, is targeted towards people who play mid stakes only. We highlight people who win mid stakes tournaments. Like Jason Koon would probably listen to it and be like, snore.
Yeah, of course.
You know, he's like, okay, I'm not going to really learn anything from this, and I'm going to see stuff about players I don't play with, tournaments I don't play. So I kind of think that's where like there is room for a lot of different content creators, especially if you're just trying to target such a little market and just entertain those people that don't usually get attention. Yeah,
I mean, I think just to wrap up, you know, I don't think that he was malicious and as attacky as people maybe thought he was, but I think that the best people who work the hardest and put the most effort into their content are always going to rise, and it's not hard to find them, and they're going to be. And for other people, it's just like part of their personal journey to put themselves out there. Like I tried stand-up comedy once. That was my goal for so many years. Like I know how you feel about that vlog, because I would write a joke down and be like, oh my God, this would be really funny. I think people would laugh at this. And then I would like leave it in my notes for a year. Yeah. And then I'd have like one more joke. I'm like, ooh, I got another one. And like it was literally 5 years of trying to convince myself that I wouldn't just get up there and like throw up to do it. And it was like personally extremely validating and like I felt really proud of myself. And I'm not pro at stand-up now. It wasn't like I got discovered and now I'm on SNL. It was just completely like, oh, some people laughed at me and I felt really good about it, and I felt proud that I did something that I was scared of. And I think that there is no way to, like, I wouldn't want to discourage people from having that feeling, even if they're not good. Like I wasn't that good, but I just felt really happy about it anyway. And I think that some people do that. They make a vlog, or they like commentate something, or they like write a book, and maybe it's not a bestseller, but maybe their second one will be. For sure. I mean, it's kind of assuming that everyone's end goal is to be famous or to make money. Or even have any kind of whatever mainstream success. Some people, I mean, there are people who just find joy out of doing things. I don't. I do everything for the
I don't
money.
either. I was like, my heart is black and cold. But I do remember a time in the distant past where I did actually get joy out of doing things.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
on that cheery note, we're going to leave you guys for the week, but we'll be back soon with more poker content.